What's going on, everybody? Your main man Zara here. Sorry for the delay on this video. I had a real busy day yesterday. I had some things come up and I had to take care of some stuff this morning, so the stream is probably going to start later than usual. But all that being said, let's get right into this. Let's not waste another minute of your time. We're going to get 2 videos up today to make up for yesterday, so be looking forward to both Boomies and Mistwalkers today. We're going to start with Mistwalker Monks tonight. So alright, let's start with Boomkins. The first thing I need to say is that it's really disappointing that Blizzard, with all that work to design new skins for Guardian Druids and for Feral Druids, and yet Boomies are still just as feathery as they've ever been. I mean, sure, I mean, they updated some pixelation and whatnot, and obviously, you know, increased the resolution on the skin, but it could really benefit from having something done to it. You know, nothing over the top, but just something new. Something that gives, you know, Boomkin something to be proud of, you know. Alright, so Boomkin's Master increases Starfall and Star Surge damage in the effective Lunar, Solar, and Stellar empowerments by 22%. Now, the great thing about this is that this allows Boomkins... Really, there's 2 ways to play a Boomkin now. You can be really, really awesome at spreading damage, you know, damage over time, your Moonfire, your Sunfire, your Starfalls, so on and so forth. Or you can be that Boomkin that just rains down havoc with cast time abilities, your lunar, solar empowerments, you know, increasing your haste, increasing your damage you put out, generating so much astral power, and just unloading Star Surges. There's 2 ways you can do this. So far, I've seen more Boomkins going the route of just spreading dots in general. Now, before a lot of you guys say, oh man, basically another Affliction Warlock, the great thing about the Boomkin in comparison to other classes / specs that are spreading damage right now is the fact that they have way more mobility. They can really get around. They have some really nice, you know, self-healing, especially if you spec into, you know, Restoration Affinity. I mean, right here, boom, you got Swift Mend, Rejude. You can already cast Healing Touch in Boomkin form. You know, I mean, these heals are only going to help. Plus, you have Displacement Beast for mobility. And I mentioned you still have Travel form, Cat form. You can go into Stealth. So, I mean, there's a lot more. There's a lot more that the class has to offer. And honestly, if you really want to just, you know, take a shot on mobility, take away some mobility, and go for some more survivability and healing, take Renewal, man. Pop into Bear form, hit Renewal every 2 minutes, and you're full health. Seriously, I've tested this. You're full health in Bear. You go Bear form and use this, you'll shift out, and you'll have the same amount of health in Boomkin form you did in Bear form. Of course, Bear form gives you like another what, million health almost. So boom, you use this, 30% health of your Bear form. You're full health when you go back to the Boomkin form. So, I mean, it's up to you guys. It's whatever you want to do. But like I said, you can look at the first few rows here. We'll go ahead and get into the talents. Looking at this, Force of Nature summons a stand of 3 tree ants for 10 seconds. Immediately taunt and attack enemies. The bad thing about this is that this no longer has charges. Before, it was really, really nice for Boomkins, because you could stagger them. You could say summon one, then 5-10 seconds later you summon another one, and so on and so forth. Because you could actually, because these rooted targets. Well, now they no longer root, which kind of sucks, because you don't have any more instant cast roots from your tree ants. So I haven't really been seeing a lot of Druids taking this, Boomkins that is. I've seen a lot of Boomkins taking either Warrior of the Elune or Starlord. Now, Warrior of the Elune allots your next 2 Lunar Strikes to be instant cast. Now, your Lunar Strikes is your biggest astral power generator. It's your biggest one. I mean, besides, you know, new moon, half moon, full moon. Lunar Strike is your biggest one. 10 astral power, but it does have the longest cast time, at least until you build up full moon. Now, you can take War of the Elune, and basically every 45 seconds, you could have 2 instant casts, 20 free astral power, some pretty significant damage burst. You stack this on top of, say, a couple of Star Surges, and you got something going. You got yourself a nice little burst window. But I kind of like Starlord. Lunar and Solar empowerments also reduce the cast time of their effective spells by 20 seconds. I mean, you're always going to have Lunar or Solar empowerment coming up every few seconds, so why not, you know, allot you a chance to get some serious deeps out with your baseline Lunar and Solar empowered abilities, such as Solar Wrath, Lunar Strike, so on and so forth. Not to mention, there's other benefits to this. There's a ton of talents that build into this. But, like I said, you can take it any way you want. You can go pure instant cast with your Moonfire, Sunfires, and have 2 free Lunar Strikes every 45 seconds and just spread damage and just constantly being on the move, never stopping to cast anything. Or you can go the way of Star-Lord and spread dots. Once you get your solar empowerments, lunar empowerments, you have the benefit of knowing your cast time's reduced by 20%. So you can go either way. I've just seen a lot of Boomkins going back and forth on this, but I've seen more using Star-Lord than using Warrior of the Elune. Okay, so next one, we've already talked about these a little bit. Renewal, great benefit to this if used in conjunction with your bear form, because the thing about the Boomkin is that they don't have to be up like in somebody's grill. You know what I'm saying? So mobility is not really something they super need, because they're already, you know, 40 yards away from something, 45 yards actually, because of their passive abilities. So you're extra further away from somebody. So renewal is actually not a bad option. You can pop into bear form every 2 minutes, boom, full health. Now you can take, or you can take Displacer Beast and really give yourself a huge boost in mobility and just, you know, move 25 yards away. So, because it's 25 yards for Boomkins instead of the stock 20 because of that extra 5-yard passive. Or you can take Wild Charge. Now the thing about Wild Charge is that, you know, a lot of Druids are like, oh, Wild Charge is better because of the leap from Travel Form. True, it's on a shorter cooldown. If you get really good, you can build yourself a little cast sequence macro. You can go Travel Form, and then the next thing you can just Wild Charge, and you just push one button, and you'll just automatically leap 20 yards and, you know, forward. So it gives you a lot of mobility as well. But this also gives you additional benefits, such as the fact that you can, you know, jump up a platform if you're in regular caster form, or you can use, you know, bear form to mobilize the target, and then you can hit dash and run away while they're rooted for full seconds. You know, Boomkin, you can actually use this to disengage away. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can use this. Since you're already going to be in Boomkin form anyway, I know a lot of Boomkins take this for the quote unquote disengage like mechanic. It's got a shorter cooldown than disengage, so that can really come in handy, especially if you're having to bounce from, like, in world PvP. This can actually really come in handy because you can bounce from like cliffs or whatever. You can avoid fall damage. This is really nice to have. But again, it's up to you. It's up to your play style. It's up to your preference. Would you rather have a little bit more utility? Would you have more mobility or more survivability? These are 3 solid choices for Boomkin. Honestly, between all the specs, I think this is probably these 3 fit the Boomkin the best. This hero just fits Boomkin the best. Whereas in Guardian Druid's almost always going to take Wild Charge. Resto is always going to take Displacer Beast. Feral is always going to take Wild Charge or Renewal. I don't think I'll ever see a Feral Druid take Displacer Beast. So, again, all 3 of these are viable for Boomkin. All 3 of them have a place. As far as this one, I think that Guardian Affinity would really come in handy for a Boomkin because you've already got a stock 200% or 275% armor increase. So, this actually would come in handy, taking Guardian Affinity. Again, Feral Affinity is no good in this spec. I don't like it at all for any spec. So, but the best thing here is probably going to be Restoration Affinity. Being able to just pop out and, you know, just get a quick rejuve off, I think that's going to be really beneficial. And also a quick Swiftman. The sad thing is you obviously can't cast these in Boomkin form, so you just got to be smarter when you're doing this. Okay, so, but between these 2, it'd be hard to tell. It'd be a hard sell. If you've got a pocket healer, or if you're running arenas and you've got somebody healing you, then take Guardian Affinity, because the reduction in damage, especially against melee, would come in handy with that 275% stock armor. And then also the fact that if you get silenced, you can pop into bear form and hit Frenzied Regeneration, because you get 20 rage out of just going bear form anyway, and it only costs 10 rage. So every 20 seconds, you could just pop into bear form, get a nice little self-heal going, and then, you know, because you'd be giving up the heals from Restoration Affinity. So at least you'd have a little bit healing. It wouldn't be great, but it'd still be better than nothing. And also the reduction in damage at all times, that comes in handy. But Restoration Affinity, the passive heal on top of the, you know, the abilities you're going to have access to, I think this is going to win out. But either one of these will work, just depending on whether or not you're running with a healer or not. Level 60 tier, Typhoon, Mass Entanglement, Mighty Bash. Again, same as any other tier Druids. I'm not going to really go much more in depth than this. I've already killed this tier. A lot of Boomkins I see using Typhoon just because that it's nice for them to have a way to get, you know, create more distance as casters, or Mass Entanglement. Don't really see a Boomkin running Mighty Bash all that often, just because they're hardly ever in melee range anyway. In duels, I could see how this would come in handy, because obviously somebody's trying to burst you down, you can stun them for a full 5 seconds. which helps kind of reduce their damage output for that amount of time. You can bash them into a root or bash them into a cyclone if you take cyclone from here. So this is a nice little chain CC. But honestly, in most world PvP or even arenas, you're probably going to take Typhoon or Mass Entanglement. It just depends on what your comp is and what you're looking for. Level 75 tier, either one of these work. I personally like Incarnation just because of the fact that you generate astral power way faster. Like say for Guardian Druid, you can just spam Mangle, or Feral Druids, it reduces the energy cost of your abilities. This actually helps you generate more power. Not only does it increase your damage, but you generate more astral power, which means more procs, more benefits, more solar and lunar empowerments. So this can't, I mean, you just can't go wrong with this option. Whereas in Stellar Fire, you know, I like what this does. I would rather see this be instant cast and basically act like another dot. You can reduce its damage output, make it something more similar to, say, Sunfire or Moonfire. Make it do a little bit less damage and make it actually generate power. But, like, I don't know, give it another benefit, like ticks for, you know, more additional damage for each damage over time effect on a target. You know what I'm saying? Of your, or yours. That way, if you had all three, it would, you know, do more damage. But as of right now, I just, because it's a short cast time, and it does benefit from Starfall's stellar empowerment, but I can't see how you're going to use this in a PvP situation, because you're gonna want to spend all your astral power, whether you're running Starfall or you're going for direct damage. You're gonna want to use your astral powers on Star Surges or Starfalls. Now you can still get this off, but I think honestly, if you're gonna be a spread the dot kind of a caster, you're gonna want to take Soul of the Forest, because it reduces the astral cost of Starfall by 10. I could be wrong. Again, I don't main a Boomkin, but I'm just saying from a spreading the dots around type of play, you'd be better off taking Soul of the Forest, just because of the fact that you could spread more Starfalls around in a rotation. It'd be a lot easier, and there is talents that increase the duration of Starfall, increases the radius of Starfall's damage. You stack that on top of your other dots. There you go. But you could take Stellar Fire. I'm pretty sure you could take Stellar Fire, or Stellar Flare rather. You could take Stellar Flare and add that on top of Moonfire, Sunfires. You wouldn't be able to spread it around as often as Sunfire or Moonfire, but you could definitely put this on a couple of primary targets on top of your Starfall, and you could do a significant amount of burst. But this is more like you're prioritizing your targets this way, whereas with Soul of the Forest, you're just spreading damage everywhere. You're not really prioritizing damage. But if you're going to be one of those Boomkins that's going to go direct damage and just casting Star Surges off the global cooldown as much as possible, then take Incarnation. You can't go wrong. Level 90 tier, Astral Communion. This is different. It's no longer a channel spell. You actually just hit this and it's just boom, it's instant. You just 75 astral power comes crapping out of you behind. So this is really nice to have. But the minute and 33, the minute and 1/3 cooldown, that's kind of weird. I would rather see this more like a minute 25, minute 0.25, like make it a minute and 15 seconds. Blizzard, why you got to be weird all of a sudden? Come on, a minute 20 seconds. Just round it up to something. That just looks weird. I know that's nitpicking, but I mean that's just weird. I've never seen that before. Blessing of the Ancients. This actually, to me, feels more PvE-ish than it does PvP, because you can pick and choose which benefit you want to have. But honestly, this boils down to how you want to play it. Do you want to be a direct cast, or do you want to be a dot spreading? If you're spreading dots, you're going to want to benefit from Blessing of the Anchi. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Which grants 2 astral power every 2.3 seconds. So you're just spreading dots. You're getting 2 or 3, you know, astral power for each time you apply a new dot. From, you know, Sunfire. Oh, my goodness. Sunfire applies 3 or generates 3 astral power, whereas Moonfire generates 3. So this would be just like having another, like you're casting another dot out there off the global cooldown. So that would benefit you more if you're spreading dots. Whereas in Blessing the Elune increases astral power generated by Solar Wrath and Lunar Strike. That's straight up cast time casters. That's That's basically like this right here is where you pick and choose. Okay, what do I want to play? Do I want to be a boomkin that sits here and, you know, is channeling cast after cast, or do I want to be that boomkin that's gonna be like, I'm not gonna cast a deadgum thing except maybe a Star Surge when I've got the Astral Power to spare it. I'm just gonna dot you up, a couple Starfalls, maybe a Stellar Flare, and just boom, 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 get the range, boom, 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 get the range, boom, 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 and just pelt you with a couple of solar wraths. Maybe a Star Surge here, make sure to hit you with a Starfall, reach you inside my Starfall so it gets more additional damage, that kind of thing. That's what's going to benefit you the most. Now, shooting stars, this is also pretty awesome. This is especially awesome if you want to spread dots. Moonfire and Sunfire damage has a 10% chance per tick to call down a falling star, dealing additional astral damage and generating 5 astral power. Between this and Blessing of the Ancients, if you want to play that type of boomkin that's just spreading dots everywhere, I mean, pick your poison, man. Do you want to have, you know, a passive astral power generation, or that you never have to worry about, or do you want to have shooting stars, which is kind of RNG? But I mean, if you spread a ton of dots, this can actually proc quite a bit. I mean, it's 10% per tick of either Moonfire or Sunfire, and if you've got both Moonfire and Sunfire on one target, up to like 10 or 12 targets, that can actually proc every few seconds on several targets. So if you just want that boomkin that literally just dots up and then just backs off and then comes in every few seconds, then take this. But if you're the kind of boomkin that's going to dot up but also still wants to benefit from a little bit of direct cast, then I think Bless of the Ancients is going to be where you're going to go. But either one of these work. Astral Communion's great, especially if you're a caster, because if you just pound out 2 or 3 Star Surges, you can pop this and cast a couple more. Seriously, you could. I mean, this would be really beneficial to you. So again, this is a solid tier. Love this tier. This is great. Nothing you can go wrong here. Level 100 tier. This one kind of iffy. I got a couple of bones to pick with this one. First of all, Fury of the Elune. This is a popular one. A lot of guys have seen this. This is the one where like you see like a giant pillar of just solar energy. You know what I'm saying? But it drains you of all your energy. Now sure, it's a 90-second cooldown, and you can actually direct it. If you cast it again while you're casting it, it'll actually move where you tell it to. But aside from the, you get something rooted into this, because we don't have any way of causing our entangled roots to not be, it's not like Feral Druids, where Feral Druids bleeds don't, remove entangled roots. Boomkins don't have anything like that, so I don't see how this is going to be beneficial in PvP. In PvE, I could see how this would really be awesome, especially if you guys are trying to burn through something on challenge mode. Well, you get a couple of Boomkins that just drop Fury of the Elune, gone. Might as well just turn all the mobs to ash, because there won't be nothing left. So PvP, this isn't going to be very useful, but in PvE, I can see how this would be really awesome. Stellar Drift, I think, is going to be the overall favorite, though. Either that or Nature's Balance. But again, this is going to depend on what kind of boomkin do you want to be. Do you want to be the kind that's going to spread dots? If so, you're going to take Stellar Drift. If you're going to be a cast time boomkin, you're going to take Nature's Balance. Stellar Drift increases Starfall's radius by 30%, Starfall's damage by 20%, and allows you to cast while moving within Starfall's radius. So, spread some dots. You take Soul of the Forest, so Starfalls reduce Astral Power cost, throw a Starfall up, and then now you can start casting, a couple of Solar Wraths or a couple of Lunar Strikes, or maybe a New Moon, a Half Moon, a Full Moon. Now, remember, Starfall does not last too terribly long. We'll look at Starfall real quick. Starfall, over 8 seconds. So with that and all the globals, you might get 2, maybe 3 casts, depending on what you're casting. If you're casting a full moon, you're gonna get maybe 1 cast of that and 1 cast of Solar Wrath. But now if all you're casting is Solar Wrath, you can get 4 or 5 of those things off. But if you're casting Lunar Strike, you're only gonna be able to get 2 or 3. So it's really gonna have to depend on what you're looking for, and this one's gonna be really situational, depending on what comp you're facing, what spells, what certain portion of your rotation are you on, which ability's got solar or lunar empowerment, which one's procced right now. That's obviously going to change. So, but being able to cast while moving as a boomkin is really nice. You just got to make sure to be inside your Starfire radius, so keep that in mind. The next one here is Nature's Balance. I think this is going to be more for boomkins that are going to be taking Incarnation and most likely going to be taking Star-Lord and just sitting back and just casting. because this is going to allow you to not have to really worry about reapplying Moonfire or Sunfire. Once it's on there, anytime you cast an ability, boom. Nature's Balance feels a lot kind of like a PvE talent, because it's no big deal in PvP. You're going to have to reapply Moonfire or Sunfire to new targets all the time anyway, but in PvE, you can just apply it one time and that's it. You don't have to touch it. So Nature's Balance feels really kind of PvE-ish. I think in PvP, most Boomkins are going to take Stellar Drift. I don't think you can really get away from it, just because Starfall's increased radius is really nice, and also the fact that its damage is always, a damage buff to anything is always nice, especially in PvP. So again, PvE, Central, I think these two are. You can do this in PvP. This one I don't think is going to have any room in PvP, like at all, unless you have like a comp that can like stun lock something into this for several seconds. Otherwise, if you're just, you know, playing solo, this isn't going to work very well. Because, again, when you're casting this, you're stationary. You can't move. You're stuck. You're a sitting duck. So you get more than one person on you, and it's worthless. But yeah, that does it for the talents. Let's move into the honor talents. The Gladiator's Medallion Adaptation Relentless. We've gone over all this. These are all the same for all casters. Increase damage by 15% as long as you're not being attacked. Increase haste and critical strike of all your damage abilities increased by 30% on targets above 80% health. Protector of the Grove, I talked about this as Guardian Druid. I don't see how this is going to be useful at all. And then Shape Mender and Druid of the Claw. Druid of the Claw is nice with Rejuvenation, but since you're not a Resto Druid with Germination, this kind of loses its luster. Besides, you get more armor out of being in Moonkin form anyway, so I think Shape Mender is going to be better. Just, you know, shape shift into bear form every 5 seconds, get that 5% heal, and go back into Moonkin form. Can't go wrong. Prickling Thorns, Crescent Burn, Celestial Downpour. This increases the damage of Starfall. Or do you want to use Moonfire on a target already afflicted by Moonfire? The damage over time deals 35 additional direct damage. Or Prickling Thorns, which causes every time Entangling Roots is, you know, either removed, dispelled, and the target's going to take a nice bit of damage. This basically turns into an addition. It basically takes the entire dot that, say, a Moonfire or a Sunfire does, and it just attaches it to the end of an Entangling Root. So this is really nice. But again, it just all comes down to playstyle. If you want to be that kind of druid that's rooting everything in sight and dotting everything up and slowing everything down, take Prickling Thorns. If you want to be that Moonkin that's going to be sitting here and just spamming Moonfire on the same target over and over and over, take Crescent Burn, man. You can't go wrong, man. That 35% additional damage can really stack up. Or if you want to be that kind of Boomkin that's not really getting into the fight too often, at least not up close, and you're just letting all your dots do all the work, man, take Celestial Downpour, man. Take it. You can't go wrong. This is a solid tier. I like this tier. I think this is honestly the best row of talents for the honor talents for any spec of druid right now. Alright, so the next row, Touch the Stars, Healing Touch, generates 15 astral power. Twin Moonfire, whenever you moonfire another nearby enemy within 40 yards, free cost. And then Moonkin Ore, whenever you Star Search, all allies within 40 yards have their spell critical strike chance increased by 15% for 12 seconds. Alright, so this one, I don't know, man. This feels really... like, I don't want to say this is just an obvious choice, but it kind of is. I think Moonkin Ore is just going to be the overwhelming favorite. Twin Moonfire is nice, but all it really does is just, it negates a global cooldown. That's really all it does. Because if you look at this, Moonfire doesn't even do anything but generate astral power. We don't have mana anymore, so there's no harm in casting this. Now, this does, however, this does now turn Moonfire, if there is an additional target, Moonfire will now generate 6 astral power. So it does have its place, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a game changer as opposed to Moonkin Ore. Same thing with Touch of Stars. This is nice. I mean, you can sit here and take this in PvP, and in a BG, if you know somebody's coming, you can just get off about, 5 or 6 or 7 healing touches, go to full lunar power, and be ready to rock and roll, dude. Seriously. This is nice, but this isn't really going to help you in a fight, per se. I mean, it can if you've got something entangling and rooted and you know they're stuck. You can get a couple of healing touches off, sure. But in the heat of battle, I think the thing that's going to help the most here is going to be Moonkin Ore. I think most, because I don't care whether you play a caster style or you're going to be a dotting up kind of Boomkin. You're always going to use Star Surge when you've got the astral power to do it. You're always, because I mean that's your bread and butter, dude. You will always do this. But again, I don't think you can get away from Moonkin Ore. I just don't think it's possible. Twin Moonfire is nice. Makes Moonfire 6 Astral Power because it hits 2 targets now, and it removes the need to really spam a global cooldown more than a couple extra times. And then Touch of Stars is nice for like a pre-fight stage, for pre-fight staging, but I don't think you can get away from Moonkin Ore. That's just me. You guys may disagree. Pick and choose however you want to do it. It's up to you guys. This one is lovely. I love these two. Not too hot on Fairy Swarm. Swarms the target with fairies, reducing target's movement speed by 30% and chance to hit by 50% for 8 seconds. This is basically like, kind of like a Curse of Weakness for, you know, like the Affliction Warlock's Curse of Weakness. This is kind of similar to what that is for, but now it's for Boomkins. This is only beneficial, however, to, you know, targets that you're trying to kite. And since it is a 30-second cooldown and it only lasts for 8 seconds and it's not spammable anymore, I mean, it kind of loses its luster. You know what I'm saying? I think most Boomkins are going to take either Cyclone or Summer Solstice. I don't see how you can get away from Summer Solstice, especially if you're facing a caster comp in the arenas, or if you're going into a BG and you see you've got like, you know, 7 or 8 casters and there's only like, you know, 4 or 5 melee. Summer Solstice all the way, dude. Making Solar Beam a 30-second cooldown, you can't get away from that. Cyclone is what it's always done. 25-yard range. So you do, it's like you have the Glyphs of Cyclone before, because with that extra 5-yard passive that Boomkins have, so that's really nice. So just gives you additional CC, makes the Boomkin bring a lot of utility to the raid or to the group. So it's up to you guys. Honestly, if I was to play it, it would just depend on the comp. If I'm facing a melee heavy comp, I'm gonna go Cyclone. If we're trying to really do a lot of cross CC, I'll take Cyclone. But if we're facing a caster heavy comp and we're just looking to shut down the healer completely, take Solar Solstice, man, all day. So let's move on into the artifact tree. I usually start with that first, but okay. Anyway, I want to move this around because I've been covering up the artifact weapons I've noticed on my videos, so you guys can actually see everything. So let's start with New Moon. Ability deals 106,000 astral damage to the target, empowers New Moon to become Half Moon. So let me just go ahead and show you guys this real quick. This is pretty legit. I like this. This is the artifact ability. Short cast time for New Moon. A little bit longer cast time for Half Moon. Does double the damage, 200 some odd thousand damage. And then now you've got Full Moon, generates 40 astral power. So New Moon's 10 astral power, Half Moon's 20 astral power, Full Moon is 40 astral power. And now it does 427,000 damage. Has the longest cast time of all of our spells. Lunar Strike rather is 2.27. Full Moon is 2.72. Okay, so you're going to cast this, and let's go, whoop, but now it's going to hit, and it's going to hit hard, okay? So that was about 142,000 damage. It's AoE. It's really nice. This is really awesome. Now, the thing about this is that it benefits from both playstyles. Whether you want to be a caster or if you want to be a dot heavy, this can really benefit both, especially if you're trying to build up a crap ton of astral power. If you stack this with, you know, the fact that you generate 50 additional astral power from, say, Incarnation, you'll have a full astral bar immediately if you use all 3 of these. You stack this with, say, you know, not Celestial Alignment, but you stack this with, you know, Astral Communion, you can have a ton of astral power really, really fast. And then you stack it with Warrior of the Loon, get 2 free Lunar Strikes, and boom, you just got, you know, if you use with the Incarnation, you just picked up, you know, 30 astral power just instantly. So there's a lot of ways you can play this to really benefit. Just tinker around, find out what fits for you, and go with it, man. There's really no way to go wrong with this this spec, whether you do direct damage or you just spread dots everywhere. All right, so Sky Wrath increases damage of Lunar Strike and Solar Wrath, really nice. Increases damage bonus of Stellar Empowerment, that's Falling Star. This is really nice because, I mean, this is going to be both, you know, your Stellar Empowerments and your Lunar Empowerments. You're going to have, you know, benefits to all of them. But Stellar Empowerment is going to benefit most from your Starfall. Let's pull this up. Okay, so applies Stellar Empowerment to each target, which increases damage taken from your Moonfire and Sunfire. So really, that's a ton of damage bonus to your Moonfire and Sunfire. That's what this is. Awesome. Awesome. Love this, actually. If you buff this to 90% and you're just one of those, you know, dot heavy Boomkins, you'll be doing a lot of AoE damage. Alright, so Light of the Sun reduces the remaining cooldown of the solar beam by 15 seconds when it interrupts the target. So if you were to go in here and you were to take the Honor talent and you wait and you actually interrupt the spell cast, you just turn solar beam into a 15-second cooldown. That's really powerful. That's why Summer Solstice is so awesome of a talent to take. So if you're facing a caster comp heavy, you might want to take Summer Solstice because your artifact weapon just makes it a 15-second cooldown. You just gotta learn to use it right. You just gotta time it right. When you take damage, you have a 15% chance to heal yourself for 77,000 damage. Cannot occur more than once every 20 seconds. So this is kind of similar to our Alkin Frenzy used to be, except now instead of giving you additional damage and free cast, you actually heal, which is really nice. It's basically like a free healing touch, so that's really nice to have. Power of Goldrin. Star Surge has a chance to summon Spirit of Goldrin, which immediately deals 95,000 arcane damage to the target. So burst damage to your dots. Again, this is really nice. Star Surge is an instant cast ability, so it can go from doing, you know, its stock 131,000 to doing almost 250,000 of this procs. So again, whether you're a dot heavy boomkin or cast heavy, this benefits either one, because you're going to be using Star Surge anyway, regardless. If you have the astral power to spend, you're going to use Star Surge, I promise you. Increases critical strike chance with Lunar Strike by 15%, always nice. Lunar increases the damage bonus from Lunar and Solar Empowerments by 10%. See, like I said earlier, you're going to see, I was talking about Stellar Empowerment. I told you was going to see Lunar and Solar Empowerment further down here. It's not as much because these are actually benefiting your, you know, big damage dealing abilities, whether it be Solar Wrath or Lunar Strike. But the great thing about this is that you can pick and choose. You can buff this one if you're dot heavy, or you can buff this one if you're a direct cast. It's totally up to your playstyle, man. Moon and Stars. During Incarnation, chosen to be a loon, each harmful spell you cast grants you 1% haste. Now, if I was to take off Incarnation because this removes Celestial Alignment, this would change to Celestial Alignment. So just keep that in mind. This normally says during Celestial Alignment, each harmful spell you cast grants you 1% haste. Now, since this lasts 30 seconds, Incarnation, this actually can stack up ridiculously high. So if you take Star-Lord, which is why a lot of boomkins I'm seeing are taking Star-Lord, because you stack this haste increase with this one, and then you take Stellar Drift and you can cast while on the move. Man, that's nasty, 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 man. Just keep that in mind. That's a great combo. Alright, moving on. Sunfire Burns increases damage of Sunfire by 21%. Really nice. Twilight Glow does the same thing for Moonfire. Increases damage of Moonfire by 21%. So 21% to both of these, man. On top of Stellar Empowerment, which is why if I was to boost something between these three options, I'd boost this one, because this is going to increase the damage of both Moonfire and Sunfire. You just got to make sure that Stellar Empowerment stays up. Innervate also grants you 20% haste for its duration. So Innervate's a 3-minute cooldown, so this basically just became not only free abilities for 10 seconds, but it also became a damage buff. So keep that in mind too. You can actually stack this, you can stagger this with your Incarn or Celestial Alignment and get a bunch of haste every 90 seconds. It's a really nice way to play it. Alright, so increase the damage of Solar Wrath by 15%, increasing your direct damage is always nice. Increase critical strike chance of Star Surge, definitely nice. You could actually make this 36% and basically make Star Surge almost a semi-guaranteed crit. It would crit almost as often as Regrowth does. You know, because Regrowth has a stock 60% increased crit chance. It's essentially what Star Surge would be with your gear, which is really nice. Especially if you're one of those kinds that's just a direct caster and you're building up a ton of astral power almost constantly. As long as you're able to free cast, that is, you could really benefit from this. Increase the radius of Sunfire by 5 yards. This is really nice to help you do a lot of AoE damage, because as we all know, unlike Moonfire being just a single target, Sunfire can actually do damage in a radius. Normally it's only 5 yards, but thanks to your artifact weapon, it's now 10 yards. So this is really nice. Okay, so the last one on this is Moonkin Form, increases armor by an additional 75%. Now remember, usually it's 200%, this makes it 275%. So this is really nice. You can actually buff that to 150% and give you 350% armor. Then you take that with Guardian Infinity, melee is going to have a hard time getting to do damage on you. So Echoing Stars, again, last one here. Each time Starfall deals damage, it also damages any other nearby enemy for 2,000 astral damage. So again, if you're throwing out a bunch of Starfalls, you reduce its cost and increase its radius and its damage. That's where you're gonna benefit the most from Echoing Stars. So again, all these options, this is what I love about, you know, Feral Druids and Boomkins right now. I feel like so far these are the two best specs that are, you know, really sync well with their artifact traits and their talents. You can literally play these many different ways. You can go direct damage, or you can go dot heavy, or you can do a mixture of both. You can have strong dots, and you can have some pretty decently strong direct cast. Just however you want to play it. If you want to be balanced, a true balance, pardon the pun, if you want to be balanced Moonkin, you can take that road. Or if you just want to be dot heavy and put all your eggs in one basket, do it that way. Put all your eggs into direct casting, you can do it that way. It's really up to you guys. Anyway, guys, that does it for the Boomkin. If I've got any closing remarks, it's simply going to be this, that I like the Boomkin. I like it a lot. But from what I'm seeing right now, and this is really disappointing, you don't see any Boomkins right now. Like outside Stormwind dueling, you don't see any Boomkins. I'd like to say that's because, you know, nobody knows how to play them and they just don't want to bother. But honestly, I've talked to a couple of guys and they don't feel like the Boomkin's in a great place right now as far as, you know, solo one-on-one capability is in a duel. But now you get a Boomkin out in the open in a BG or in World PvP and he's able to stay max range, he's able to dot you up and keep it at great distance. That's when a Boomkin gets deadly. But, you know, trapped in a little radius of about, you know, 50 yards either direction, you go outside of it, you end up forfeiting the duel. The Boomkins are really limited. But as far as World PvP and BGs, they're deadly. Because I've actually seen damage meters where Boomkins are just dominating. Even dominating Affliction Warlocks or Unholy DKs. You know, classes that can really spread damage around like crazy. Boomkins are dominating right now in the BGs. Because their dots hit and they hit hard. Especially if you spec certain ways. If you spec into a dot heavy spec, which is what most Boomkins that I've seen in BGs are doing. But if you've been playing Boomkin for a long time and you feel better about, you know, doing direct cast than you do just putting everything into dot damage, that's fine too, man. It's however you want to play it. I do encourage you guys to get on the beta if you have access, or if you can get on live and start tinkering around with these changes. Just get really accustomed to how the Boomkin feels, because no longer using mana was a big change. Them and Shadow Priest got some huge changes as far as how their resource management is. So get on here and tinker with it, man. I think you'll really enjoy it. So anyway, guys, that does it for me. Love you guys. Hope you guys enjoy the video. If you do, hit the like button. Also hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to my channel. And be looking forward to this Weaver's Lair tonight, man. I'll be looking forward to making that. So anyway, guys, love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy, boys. Zero out.